Today we're here to share with you 5 strategies that good parents always use. First of all, a disclaimer about the word always.
Yep.
Always. We're supposed to always avoid the word always. Never use the word never.
Right.
So that's in the title, but here's the thing. None of us always anything.
We'd be perfect parents if we could always do anything, right? So that's our disclaimer, but we're still going to go into the 5 strategies good parents always use.
All right, so the first one has to do with your job.
Oh, we've gone over this so many times, right? Your job is to love them no matter what and even if. And first of all, remember, You're good at it. You're already good at this, right?
You're rocking it as a parent. You're good at your job already. We want to reinforce that idea because coming from that space puts you in a whole different energy as a parent. So focus on your job. Your job is to love them no matter what and even if. Don't get distracted. I say don't get distracted. You will get distracted. Just notice it when it happens. When you get pulled off of your job and you start to think, my job is to make sure that they...
Yeah, I'm not doing a
Whatever.
good job of this or that. Remember, you're doing a great job at your main job, which is to love them no matter what and even if.
That is your job.
Yeah.
Keep it clear.
Recently, I read something that just really caught me as a parenting mantra, and it said, use boldness, but not overbearance. And I've been thinking a lot about this. You know, how do we use that in parenting? And I thought about it. You know, sometimes we worry about our parenting. We're always thinking about all the negative parts of it. I need help with all the negative parts.
Right.
I think you can use this one too in positive. For example, I was thinking of a new example. My mother, there was a boy that I really, really wanted to go to a Christmas dance with. I was showing up to all of his swim meets. Like, I've never gone to a swim meet except when I was trying to
You're
get
not
his
a swim
attention.
fan,
And I
actually.
remember it's like it was my last chance. I was going to go to this basketball game, hope that he asked me, right? My mother, in her sweetness, she had gone. She was trying to support me, but not like making me so stressed out about it. She
Right.
went and got me a dress just in case he asked me. And so she's like, I think he's going to ask you. She went and got this dress, but she didn't like get involved too much or give me a whole lot of advice. To me, that was kind of that boldness. I'm going to buy the dress, but I'm not overbearing. I'm not going to tell you how to get this done or do anything, or I don't know. I think we can use it in
Right.
positive. I also, the same thing with cheering. I remember one time my son telling me that at a track meet that when I cheered too loud, it distracted him from his race. So boldness, but not overbearance. That may be a different way of looking at it.
Right. So I love the way that boldness implies courage. It implies
Confidence.
confidence, maybe being willing to stretch a little bit. Overbearance, I think the number one mistake we make as parents
Right.
is to probably micromanage and get in there and do things that maybe we should just allow them to handle
Right.
instead. Another example of using boldness but not overbearance comes in with an example that we've shared before actually here on the channel. You control whether you give permission or not. But if you forbid your child from doing something, that might be overbearance.
And you can't really follow through on that very well. It's going to cause conflict. So you want to be
Right.
bold and say, I'm not going to give my permission for you to go to that dance.
Right. This is really something that gets your teenagers especially to start thinking. The example that I've shared before has to do with our son who wanted to go to a party. Can I go to this party, Dad? And I'm like, tell me more about the party. Right? Because you hadn't given me enough information. And my response to him was, after I found out more about the party, I'm not really comfortable with it, so I'm not giving you permission to go.
He's like, well, can I go?
Can I go or not? Well, that's up to you. I trust you to make a good choice about that.
But
Understand that if you go, you're going without my permission. Okay, see, that's bold, but not overbearing.
Right.
Because I'm not saying I forbid you from going, you can't go, which is a lie,
right.
actually, because he'll prove to me that he can.
So
Vicki, I ran across a nice little parenting mantra as well. And the wording is a little interesting, so stay with us. Reproving betimes with sharpness.
yeah. That's like 19th
Okay.
century speech.
Yeah, this is like old talk.
Right.
But I like those words because the reproving has to do with offering the corrections that we have to do as parents.
Right.
Remember, your role with your children is that you're their parent. Your job is to love them no matter what and even if.
But your role is parent.
And because of that, you get to correct them from time to time. Now, reproving means correction. Betimes.
Yeah, what is that? Speak to that.
At first, when I read it, I thought it meant now and then, right? No, it means when it's appropriate.
Yeah, and it kind of carries in the moment type of a feel a little bit. Perhaps. And we talked about this with a child, with a young child, in the moment is usually developmentally appropriate.
Right. Because this is where they are, this is where their
Yeah, they're
mind
still
is.
linking cause effect all the time, and so you have to give it in the moment.
Now, it might be more appropriate for a teenager to reprove them or correct them later on.
Right, because
so that you
we don't want to embarrass them,
in
right.
front of their peers or whatever. So betimes means when it's appropriate. Now with sharpness.
Yeah.
Okay, sharpness means don't use a chainsaw when you need a scalpel.
Yeah, it's more exactness. Because sharpness, sometimes we think of that as kind of like almost aggressive.
Harshness or meanness. It's not.
But it's more exactness.
Exactness, precision. If I'm using a sharp instrument, I can be very precise.
Yeah, how often do we, when we go into a reproving, right? We like, you always, immediately, you have just taken it, you're not very sharp, you're not exact, right?
So back off with the chainsaw. If you need a scalpel, let's get really precise about this. It is not about your child's character. It's not about how they're terrible, horrible, awful, no good, very bad people. It's simply, okay, this behavior, sharpness, precision.
Right.
I love that.
Now finish your saying, because you only gave us part.
The mantra has more.
The mantra has more.
And then showing forth afterwards an increase of love. Now, I love this because when we reprove or correct our children, they don't feel love in that moment.
So we need to increase the love, and the reason is we don't want them to see us as their enemy. We want them to realize that we're coming at them, and with this reproving or this correction, with love for them, full of love.
Not the same amount of love.
No, an increased love.
An increase of love. And this helps to counteract their feeling of, when they're being corrected, they're not feeling loved in that moment. That's okay. You still love them, but they're not feeling it in that moment. So we show the increase of love afterwards, which helps, it creates a dilemma for them, actually.
Right.
It's like, wait a minute. This is weird, right? Because they just got corrected. But then you show that increase of love, and that helps you as a parent to establish your position as a loving, benevolent, generous parent. And the correction...
You set limits.
It's actually more effective in the limit setting because of the love.
Right. The next point that we wanted to talk about is to honor your child's journey. It's so interesting, you know, when you really realize that these are completely separate individuals. They have a different way of going about things, different personalities, and just honor their journey. Sometimes we want to rescue our children, right? And so realizing that we want to honor their journey, sometimes we say, hey, we're going to let them make their choice and deal with the consequences.
Let them.
Right. Oh, well, that's true.
Which is... We think this way, though, as parents. Should I let my child fail? Really? Like, it's up to you?
Yeah, so honor their journey.
This is also where we get to detach ourselves, our own ego, a little bit from the parenting. These children that you have are not mini-me. It's not like you're raising little clones of yourself. They're very different people. And you will see this as they reach their adolescence and teenage years and adulthood. They become very different people from you. And that's okay. You honor their journey. It's not your journey or trying to correct everything that happened in your journey. This is theirs. Honor it. Fifth and final point for this. Choose to enjoy the relationship.
You know, Paul and I just started watching a new series called Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that I have found really just delightful, there's a couple of the different families. There's these children who are adults now who are on the autism spectrum, and
Right.
they want to kind of date. They want to start dating, and so this is a show about them dating. And it's so fun to watch some of the parents just enjoying watching their child, who they are, who they've become, who they want to become,
Yes.
the journey they're on. And you know, we can do that as parents. Sometimes just step back and enjoy it. If you're not so stuck, so committed to outcomes or being in control, you can just really enjoy all of the funny little things about your kid and the relationship that you have and that it's changing to. I have loved watching, I've talked to you about this before, It's like the man dance as your sons, because I raised 3 sons, when they went from little boys and all of a sudden they're like man-sized children. It's like this dance, how do you interact? So enjoy this relationship I have with them, even as it's
Enjoy.
changing. Just enjoy it.
I love the word choose as well. What if it actually is a choice? And until you see it as a choice, it's not. So get clear about that, and even do it consciously and intentionally. I choose to enjoy this relationship. Look, especially when your kids become teenagers, you're going to either be tortured by this thing or you can choose to enjoy it. And I think as you apply the other steps that we've talked about here in this video, that becomes more of a choice and your life gets better too. Hopefully that gives you some ideas. You know, there are so many other resources available to you. You may not have been aware of what we've put together at Live on Purpose Central. Come over. We would love to assist you and provide coaching and other resources to you as a parent. go.liveonpurposecentral.com.
Her head was down, face locked onto the phone.